Good afternoon and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a beautiful sunny day here at Reese Stadium. Paul Wassman alongside Pat Reed. We're just a few minutes away from bringing you Yale men's lacrosse as they welcome in the Dartmouth Big Green in a big Ivy League matchup. For both teams, it's going to be their fourth Ivy League game of the season. Right now, the Bulldogs are sitting at 1-2 for Dartmouth, rather. They're at 0-2. So a big game for both teams as they try to get into the top four that will make it to the Ivy League playoff system in just a few games after today. Today is the senior day for the Yale Bulldogs. They will be honoring 7 seniors who have had a huge impact throughout their 4 seasons now here at Yale. I think a stat I saw, Pat, earlier today, this senior class heading into today's season had a total of 31 wins already. That's the most by any senior class since 1993.
Absolutely, and a great group of guys here, and really guys who have anchored this defense for 4 years. We got 3 guys there. We got Kirby Zadrill, who's coming out, really having a breakout year and making this team into a contender again this year.
Yeah, we quickly look at all the seniors that we will be honoring today. Phil Gross, a defender out of Columbus, Ohio. Michael Lippin, number 8, the senior from Delray Beach, Florida. You have Peter Spalding, obviously a goalie. And then obviously, as you were talking about the defenders, Peter Johnson, huge play from him in all 4 seasons. The captain, Michael McCormick, Andrew Cordia as well will be honoring. Kirby Zadrill, up top today, really has been the surprise of the season, coming out of seemingly nowhere, taking the place of a missing Duron Dempster.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like we talked about last week, the inside Canadian threat, being that close finisher, a great scoring threat from anywhere on the field.
Yep, and now we're about to get that senior day ceremony started. We're going to try to tap into the PA system and hear them honoring them. Last year, it was a very fun announcement from the PA announcer, so we're hoping for similar, in festivities here at Reese Stadium on, again, just a beautiful day for lacrosse. Minutes after the women's lacrosse game finished up earlier here, we brought that to you live on Yale All Access. Unfortunately for the women, they fell to Princeton, I think by about 5 goals, 13-8, I think it was. But a very good showing from the women's side. And the fans have stuck around. This place is packed. I haven't seen it like this at all yet this year for a lacrosse game. I mean, the weather is just fantastic for it.
And it looks like we're starting now with the announcements.
Yeah, we're going to try to tap into that.
This senior has been a regular contributor for his entire career. He has scored a pivotal goal in 2011 against Brown to help secure a second straight Ivy League tournament bid. A political science major, he will work as an investment bank analyst at Barclays in New York City. His parents live in Maine, sister Mary Elizabeth, and grandfather Tim are on the field with him today. From Alexandria, Virginia, number 41, Andrew Cordia. Our next Bulldog started 28 straight games for the Yale defense before a knee injury sidelined him last spring. He secured the game-ending ground ball against Harvard in 2010 to give Yale its first Ivy championship since 1990. He's an environmental studies major who's still making his final decisions for next year. He's joined today by his father Tom and sister Marjorie. From Upper Arlington, Ohio, number 5, Philip Gross. The next senior is a 4-year starter and a 2012 All-American and first-team All-Ivy League selection. The 2013 preseason All-America pick and Lowe's Senior Class Award finalist. He's a mechanical engineering major who will be playing professional lacrosse for the Rochester Rattlers and working as an associate at Summit Partners, a private equity firm in Boston. He is joined today by his parents, Shay and Evan. From Minnetonka, Minnesota, number 31, Peter Johnson. Contributors with the offensive and defensive end as a two-way midi since his arrival on campus, appearing in 21 games over his career. He's a political science major who will become an investment banking analyst at ECT Partners in Boston. We're joined today by current junior comics from Dartmouth, Florida, number 8, Michael Lippin. Job lined up with Venture for America as a fellow working in a startup. His mother and father, Michelle and Russ Spalding, joined him on the field today. From Huntington, Maryland, number 13, Peter Spalding. Scoring the game winner against Albany and last week against Penn in overtime. He is currently second in Division I in shooting percentage. Psychology major who plans to work in the advertising and marketing industry, either in New York City or San Francisco. He's joined by his parents, Lori and Lawrence, from Edmonton, Alberta, number 47, Cody Citro. Bulldog Junior, a 2012 first team All New England selection, a second team All Ivy pick, and an Ivy League All Tournament team selection. He's a 2013 preseason All American selection and has been an anchor on defensive end for all 4 years. A political science major, he'll work in Imperial Capital in New York City next year. He's joined on the field by his parents, Joan and Joe, grandmother Joan, and cousin John. From West Islip, New York, number 42, the captain, Michael McCormick.
We're not sure how much of the PA announcer you were able to hear there, but one thing I'm sure you could hear over the speaker system was the number of applause just coming for all 7 of these seniors. Just a huge level of appreciation for them all out here today.
And this team, these seniors really have seen Yale really develop into a top-tier program in the NCAA, led really by Captain Michael McCormick. This is a team that, last year made a kind of splash in the Ivy League tournament, did a good job in the NCAA tournament, and is looking poised to go back again.
Yeah, their entry into the NCAA tournament last year was their first entry into that tournament in the last 20 years. So you're right, just a fantastic senior class, really taking this program to a whole nother level, and they're leaving it in great hands. You're right, this year, another NCAA tournament bid doesn't seem that unlikely of a possibility, and for the years to come, it seems like it's going to be a bright future for this Yale Bulldog team coached by Andy Shea, currently in his 10th year. He's done a fantastic job. And now that we're able to turn our attention towards the game at hand, away from the seniors, the Bulldogs welcome in the Dartmouth Big Green, currently 2-6, 0-2 on the season. The Big Green come in losers of 4 straight, and on their third straight game on the road. Last week, they had to go up to Ithaca, New York to play the number 3 ranked Cornell Big Red, and that's a tough game for almost anyone. This Dartmouth team really struggled. They ended up falling 21-5 in that contest, so they're looking to try to figure something out. We've seen a lot of changes in their lineups heading into today's matchup.
Yeah, this is a very different team. I think Coach Andy Towers saw that there was a problem, said we're going to make a change. We're going to shake them things up. If you look at really those key stats, points, goals, and assists, of their top 5 players in each category, Chris Constable's the only one that's going to be starting today. So going to see a different Dartmouth team here than we've been seeing the last couple of weeks.
And we're going to take a quick break away as we're going to honor America by the playing of our national anthem. You're watching Yale All Access. Well, it looks like we'll rather get the introductions of the players first. I think the players thought they were going to go straight into the national anthem, but instead we have the player introductions. As you're talking about, Pat, Dartmouth featuring almost a whole new lineup this week as opposed to last week. Only 4 starters from that Cornell game are playing again here today, led by Bernie Susskind. The goalie played 45 minutes last game before being pulled 15 minutes before the end of that one. And, you mentioned only one of their top 5 scorers out there to start.
Yeah, and this is a good thing for teams to get your young guys, get some new guys in there, get some fresh faces, and try to shake things up. You never know what you're going to get. If you see guys who have been chomping at the bit trying to get that opportunity all season, and now you give them that opportunity against a quality Yale team, and you see what you got.
It's going to be a big task for Dartmouth as we take a look at Yale now, the number 16 team in the nation, fresh off of a big win here Tuesday night against the Providence Friars. Bulldogs ran away with that one 13-6. A game where we saw 8 different Bulldog players tally goals, led by Conrad Oberbeck and Kirby Zadrill, each with a hat trick. Brandon Mangan, 2 goals and 3 assists to continue his absolute tear. He's been averaging 4.5 points per game, got 5 in that Tuesday evening contest against the Friars.
One of the interesting things that you're really starting to see is the Yale team starting to get a lot more ink in the Inside Lacrosse magazine. Brandon Mangan's a guy that his name's been coming up everywhere. Quint Kesnick listed him as the number 2 most underrated player right now in the NCAA, and mentioned that 4.6 goals a game, and just how he is the spark plug for this Bulldog team.
Yeah, we saw him there on Tuesday night. Certainly not afraid to shoot the ball at all, but what really surprised me in that Tuesday game was just how willing he was to dish the ball off to another open man. Mangan does a fantastic job drawing double coverage, so as a result, he does an even better job finding that open guy who's been able to finish certainly Tuesday night.
And one of the things I noticed during warm-ups is this is the first game I've seen him. He hasn't had a knee brace on, so hopefully maybe we'll see even a little bit quicker step out of him.
He suffered that injury, I think, in the middle of last season. It hampered him a little bit, but not too badly. And certainly so far this year, he hasn't really noticed that effect. Through 8 games now, 21 goals, 16 assists, a total of 37 points to lead this Bulldog offense.
And again, like I said, that 4.6 is ranking up there. I think number 7 right now in the country is for points a game.
And now we're going to take that break for the playing of our national anthem. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Reese Stadium. I'm Paul Wasserman alongside Pat Reed. One other thing we should probably mention before this game gets going, I'm sure you've already noticed it at home, we now have HD cameras for the first time all season long for lacrosse. New technology that we were able to roll out for the hockey season. It's now made its way here on over to Reese Stadium. Our first game, we've had this up and running, so it just looks so much better out there on the computer screen.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Glad to see the Bulldogs heading into the Frozen Four. And this is going to be a great addition for our broadcast today.
Yep, the men's hockey team headed in the Frozen Four against UMass Lowell. That game's coming up this Thursday up in Pittsburgh. If the Bulldogs manage to win that game, they've only pulled off 2 big upsets to get to the Frozen Four. They have the possibility of facing Quinnipiac in the championship game on the 13th, the Saturday. How big would that be for this Yale team to play Quinnipiac? It's in-state rivals, the battle for toads. We always talk about it, but this time it would be all the way up in Pittsburgh. A really interesting possibility for the men's hockey team. And right now for the lacrosse team, sitting 16th in the nation, they're tied for 5th in the Ivy League at 1-2. We've been keeping an eye on Ivy League scores as of today, and a big final that just went final. Cornell versus Harvard. Harvard was leading the entire game. Cornell pulled it out in the last few minutes, sending a 14-12 victory over Harvard. That's going to send Harvard, I believe, to 1-2 as well, so into a tie with Yale now for 5th place, I think. So a win here today against Dartmouth for the Bulldogs would send the Bulldogs back into the top 4 playoff spots.
And again, just like Cornell had against Yale, a huge fourth quarter. 7 goals today for Cornell in the fourth quarter to pull that one out against Harvard. Number 3 team in the country for a reason.
And now we're about ready to get this thing started. We're going to take a quick look at the face-off X. Number 46, Dylan Levings to take it for Yale. 17 of 19 in the Tuesday night contest. I think that's 89% effective rate for the junior, who has just been on a tear again this year, right up about 64% effective rate on the season.
Last year, his 632% was good for 4th in the nation, and it was a number 1 in Yale history, so a pretty good face-off guy.
Foul call against Dylan Levings there on that opening face-off, going to be taken by 39 Phil Hessian. Makes its way over Chris Constabile, the only player of the top 5 scorers for Dartmouth out there to start this game. Leads the team with 14 goals on the season. Cam Lee brings it on over right by the big Y in front of the Dartmouth bench. Finds a sprinting Casey Beard, so it doesn't take long for Dartmouth to cycle in their top scorers. Again, we're seeing them out there. Although they didn't start the game, they quickly cycle in on offense.
And they're playing quick out there.
Ball down on the ground, picked up nicely by Michael Quinn, number 44 of Yale. Back to Eric Natali, their goalie, who registered 10 saves in the Providence game, now has consecutive games with double-digit saves after he picked up, I think, 14 in the Penn game the earlier few days before the Providence game. Yale on the attack for the first time this afternoon. 2 minutes into this contest, Brandon Mengen takes it back behind the cage, cycles its way over to Conrad Oberbeck, sophomore out of Greenwich, Connecticut. Ryan McCarthy now up to Colin Flaherty. Defended by Harrison McCarthy, number 5 of Dartmouth. Michael Lippman gets his first touch of the afternoon, right back to Colin Flaherty. Makes his way now to Conrad Oberbeck, back over to Brandon Mangan. Yale content just to get a number of touches on this ball, waiting for the right personnel. Not trying to rush things too much here to start this game.
And Yale really needs to play a much cleaner game than they've played, something they really struggled with against Penn. Providence was a couple of really uncharacteristic easy turnovers.
Brandon Mangan just hounded, loses the ball. We get a foul called, I believe, against Dartmouth, that is, up against Brandon Mangan. Brandon Mangan to take the ball out on the far side.
And they're calling for it. They were called a hold on that, saying that's why the ball was taken away.
Hold called on number 7, Pat Flynn of Dartmouth. Ball now up with Ryan McCarthy. Pursued by Robert Osgood. McCarthy cycles it over to the far side, now back over to Mangan. Mangan to Oberbeck. Oberbeck takes a pick from Mangan. Back to McCarthy, over now again with Oberbeck. Oberbeck guarded now by Flynn. McCarthy.
Coach Towers' defense, really, he tries to switch things up, give you a different look.
Michael Lippin pushed to the outside now as it goes back with Brandon Mangan. Brandon Mangan almost lost the ball there, managing to hold on to it. A lot of pressure from Mangan. Shot, score for Brandon Mangan. First goal of the afternoon goes to Yale.
I'm not exactly sure how he got that off. The defenseman had excellent position on him, had a lift. No way that he was able to get, I don't know how he got that shot off, but was just able to get a good high to low shot, change the plane, and beat the goalie.
Again, Brandon Mangan continuing his scoring ways for the Yale Bulldogs. His 22nd goal of the season, first of the afternoon. Take a look at the face-off X again. Phil Hessian, number 39 of Dartmouth, out there again. Takes the majority of the face-offs for Dartmouth. 42% on the year, went 9 of 22 last week against Cornell. And another violation called against Dylan Leving. Not having any luck with this official here today.
And this, he's getting called for procedures before the play even starts. So there's something that the official's looking at and give him a hard time about.
Olentin loses the ball. Great defense up here by Peter Johnson. Can't come away with it, though. Yale, it sticks with Dartmouth. The far side now. Back behind the crease. In on Natali. Great save from the junior goalie as here come the Bulldogs out on the counter. Harry Kucharczyk brings it across midfield into the restraining box. Kucharczyk brings it back over with Conrad Oberbeck. Bulldogs on offense for the second time this afternoon after a good defensive series from the Bulldogs.
And the Yale coaching staff down there doing some instructions from the sideline, trying to keep the Dartmouth players on the field.
Kucharczyk with the ball. A little stutter step from Kucharczyk. Over now with Oberbeck. Oberbeck's got space. Shot wide of the cage. Out of play. Mangan there to back that ball up. He's going to retain possession, defended by Pat Flynn.
And Oberbeck took a pretty good shot there. He was a little slow getting up.
Over on the far side with Mark Glasini. Glasini defended by Billy Height. Glasini over to Zadrill. First touch of the afternoon for him. Mangan thought about the far shot. Shot! Score Glasini! Off the assist from Brandon Mangan. 2-0. Yale 5 minutes into this contest.
A great skip pass there. Dartmouth defender went to pick up the next pass, and Yale pushed it down down low.
Again, Brandon Mangan involved on both scoring plays, this time getting the assist for Mark Glasini, his second goal of the season.
Now this is going to be an important face-off for Yale. Dylan Lemmings has 2 procedure violations called on him already. If it gets a third, it's actually going to be a time-serving penalty. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm not sure exactly what they're calling, what they're saying that he's doing wrong. The Yale coaching staff is obviously very concerned about this.
Now, do the officials give them an explanation on what they're doing wrong, or is it up to Dylan to figure it out?
Well, they'll say procedure, and I think he's saying, well, what's he doing wrong? And the coaches are grabbing the refs here and saying, what's he doing wrong, to try to so that they can stem the tide.
Here we go for the third time. This time, Dylan Lemmings trying to get it right. He does this time. No procedural violation called against Lemmings. The Bulldogs come away with a face-off this time up on the far side with Alex Otero. Scoops up the ground ball. Bulldogs back in the offensive zone for the third time today. 2 for 2 already. Previous 2 times they've been up in this area. Mangan faked the pass. Now he's going to cycle it on over to Colin Flaherty on the near side. The Bulldogs getting the proper personnel. Ryan McCarthy entering off the bench. McCarthy gathers it. Back now with Flaherty. Bulldogs have been very calm to start this game this afternoon. Not at all trying to push the tempo or anything. Content to just cycle it around their players and work to get a good position.
They're looking very confident.
McCarthy now looks to try to get a shot. Still with it is McCarthy. Now he shoots, bounce right over the cage. Mangan again backs him up. Ball remains with Yale. It's Oberbeck who takes the ball in for the Bulldogs. Beck back behind the cage towards Mangan. Mangan slipped as he tried to gather that pass. Couldn't hold on to it, and now it's going to go back towards Dartmouth. First turnover of the afternoon for the Yale Bulldogs.
Yale really kind of giving no real ride there, just content letting Dartmouth clear the ball.
Up now with Nicky Dysonchuk. Back behind the cage is Mike Olentine, defended by Peter Johnson. Johnson loses his footing. Olentine's got some space. Slide there by Quinn. Ball comes now on the far side with Casey Beard. Back with Beard, defended by Colin Flaherty. Nicky Dysonchuk right by the face-off X. Now he comes in against Michael Quinn. Dysonchuk shot! Save again by Natali. 2 big saves here early on for Eric Natali. Ground ball picked up by Jimmy Kraft, who gets it right back to his goalie. Here come the Bulldogs again. Natali up to Shane Thornton. Cross midfield. Shane Thornton to Colin Flaherty. Cross field to Michael Lippin. Now to Mangan. Shot took a deflection right as he was trying to release. Out of bounds. Still with the Bulldogs. 7:57 left to play here in the first quarter. Bulldogs up 2-0. Oberbeck over to Brandon Mangan. Now with Lippin. Lippin against Robbie Hoffman, the senior out of Pennington, New Jersey. Conrad Oberbeck looks to get something going now for the Bulldog offense. Finds Thornton. Over with Mangan. Now with Sean Shakespeare. Good little swim move there to evade his defender. Goes back behind the cage. Sean Shakespeare facing some tough pressure from this Dartmouth defense. Finds the ball now with Lippin, whose shot whistles wide of the cage. Still with the Bulldogs. And Conrad Oberbeck looks to get a turn. Gets a shot. Another big save from the Dartmouth goalie. Here comes the Dartmouth now back, trying to get it clear again.
And now we're seeing a little bit more aggressive ride by Yale, make it a little more difficult.
Goalie for Dartmouth this afternoon, Bernie Suskind. Pass there is errant, picked off by Jimmy Kraft. Jimmy Kraft heads up play from the Yale defender. Here come the Bulldogs again with Michael Lippin. Not sure whether that was a shot or not. The official's going to say no, it was not. I believe he was trying to find Kirby Zadrill, but just sailed right on over him.
Kirby Zadrill, excellent hustle getting down to the goal, and I think he just tried to force it in a little bit too hard.
Good start, though, here early on for the Bulldogs. Despite not having success on the face-off X, Bulldogs have managed to really control the ball for large portions of this first quarter, and have gotten 2 big goals.
A couple quick turnovers there. We really want to make sure we're keeping an eye on that. Yale's got to really control those.
That was really the only thing we saw from last Tuesday's game that the Bulldogs were probably going to want to work on, was just a number of times they turned the ball over. I believe they had 10 in the first half alone last Tuesday. And
when you look at Yale stats for the year, they're really doing a great job as far as goals and all these other things, but turnovers is the one area that they're really getting beaten up by their opponents. 125 turnovers to their opponents 118. Not something you'd expect from a team that's actually got a 5-3 record. And when you're going to get up against a team such as Maryland in a couple of weeks down in College Park, I'm sure that's the kind of team that's going to make you pay for turning the ball over. Billy Height defended by Jack Ambrose. Shot wide of the cage that time. Shot coming from Brendan Rotans, junior out of Westport, Connecticut. Ball still with Dartmouth now behind the X. Mike Olentine defended nicely by Peter Johnson. Right in front of Eric Natali. Shot, score for Dartmouth. First goal of the afternoon for the Big Green. This time it's coming from Chris Constabile. Leading goal scorer on the year for Dartmouth. Picks up his 15th goal of the season here today. And the Dartmouth fans are outnumbered today. But just a great ball movement. Move the ball behind and then crash the net. 2 defensemen. He split 2 defensemen and was able to catch that feed right in the middle. Great job by Dartmouth getting themselves on the scoreboard for the first time this afternoon. 2-1 it stands. 5:09 left here in the first quarter. Another win right now for Dylan Levings after 2 procedural violations. He looks to be finding his groove here, but an errant pass easily picked up by Michael McCormick. McCormick and Levings take off to the sidelines to allow more offensively minded players to get out there. Ryan McCarthy's one of them. He has the ball now. Over with Colin Flaherty. Flaherty defended by Phil Hessian. A short stick. Mangan. Over to Ryan McCarthy. McCarthy up against another McCarthy. This time it's Harrison McCarthy who's defending him. McCarthy versus McCarthy. Ryan gets the edge, takes a shot, and goes right into the stick of Brandon Mangan, who that stick fell out of his hand, but able to keep the ball in bounds. Harry Kucharczyk with it. Up against Harry McCarthy this time. Had some space, shot well wide of the target. Really heads up play by Brandon Mangan there. Not sure if he was really expecting it, just flew right into his stick. Not unlike the same thing that happened with Rob Pinnell against Cornell a couple of weeks ago.
That pass took a deflection, picked up by Dartmouth. Robert Osgood, heads up play, scooping that ball off the ground.
And another turnover that Yale's really got to take better care of this ball.
Osgood over to Hessian. Hessian's got some space past the midfield line. Pass almost picked off by Michael McCormick. Instead, 6 with Dartmouth here on the near side with Chris Constable, who scored the previous goal for Dartmouth. Nicky Tysonchuk, number 26. Leaves it over now to Cam Lee. Good spin move there by Dartmouth. In on Natali. Shot save from Natali. Another big time save from him. 3 saves here early on. A point blank stuff for Eric Natali.
And that was a big defensive breakdown. Defenseman falls down. Attackman going to the ball with the net, and nobody slides to pick him up. Eric Natali saved his defense big time there.
Shot came from number 15, Casey Beard, freshman out of Annapolis, Maryland. Had a fantastic opportunity to get this game knotted up at 2, but Eric Natali is on point here today. Good passing from the Bulldogs, able to beat the ride of Dartmouth. Comes now over with Conrad Oberbeck. Sean Shakespeare, the sophomore, in now for Yale. Back to Oberbeck with 2:30 remaining here in the first quarter. Bulldogs started out strong, but have been quiet for the last couple of minutes. A couple of turnovers really just taking the wind out of their sails. Look to get them reinflated here on this offensive possession. Shakespeare defended by Hoffman. Fantastic pass to finding Zadrill. Shot, score. Assist coming from Sean Shakespeare. Great job from him finding a wide open Kirby Zadrill.
I'm not sure how any team that plays Yale for the rest of the year cannot really think about just locking off Kirby Zadrill. He stands in front of the net and he just gets open. And you just have to lock him off right there.
Not going to get much easier than that. That's a very easy goal for Zadrill. Fantastic job finding space, picking up the 18th goal of his season. Zadrill able to finish the easy ones there, but also Tuesday night, remember, he had that acrobatic behind-the-back goal against Providence, so he can make it look flashy when he needs to. Levins came away with the face-off, but had the ball stripped out of his pocket. Here comes Dartmouth back on the offense. Mike Ollentine has it on the far side. Gets his right personnel in, finds it all the way over to Brendan Rotans. Rotan's going to camp in front of the big Y. Cycles back behind the cage. Billy Height now, top of the restraining box. Defended by a short stick. Gives it up to Mike Ollentine. Dishes it back to the top. Good defense from the Bulldogs. Great pressure, that time from Michael McCormick. Shot wide of everything there. A lot of hard pressure coming from Yale on the defense. Shot came from Adam Hull, who just had a hard pressure there. Couldn't get any power behind that shot.
And that was their refs are in there conferring about who was closest to the ball. From this angle, it clearly looked like the Dartmouth player was closer, but.
And they're going to keep it with Dartmouth. Mike Ollentine looks to get the play restarted now. 1:15 left here in the first quarter. Not sure why we haven't restarted play yet, but here we go now. It looks like we're almost ready.
I think the refs were trying to give Yale an opportunity to substitute a player in that may have come off thinking that they had the possession.
Ollentine over to Constable. Rotan's over now on the far side. Jake Wheel. Behind the cage, defended by Jack Ambrose. Chris Constable has it. Jake Wheel. Over now with Billy Height. Billy Height blows by his defender. Shot! Score between the legs of Eric Natali. 3-2 Yale. 46 seconds left. Billy Height did a good job blowing by his defender.
His defender actually left the play, really thought there was no angle there, just let him go. And how he snuck that in, I think it might have, if it hit off a foot or something, but bounced up, caught the top pipe.
Dartmouth certainly coming out to play here today in their first quarter. Not at all rolling over for this potent Yale team. Right now, a 3-2 game here at Reese Stadium. Dartmouth trailed early, down 2, but have fought back. Got within 2-1, now 3-2.
And that's how this whole lacrosse season has been with teams that you really don't expect to be in it are really taking care of business. Albany the other night taking care of Johns Hopkins. It's just one of those things that it's been an up and down kind of topsy-turvy season.
Can't take any game for granted. The Yale Bulldogs certainly can't, but a win here today puts them at 2-2 in the Ivy League and sitting in a very good position to control their own destiny and make the Ivy League tournament. Bulldogs again get another face-off win as Dylan Levings has found his stride. Far side with Alex Otero. Dishes it off to Brandon Mangan. Defended by Pat Flynn. Mangan over to Otero again. Otero with Michael Bonacci, who picked up a goal in Tuesday's game. Shot couldn't find its way onto Suskin as it was deflected right as Bonacci released it. Bonacci trying to fight to get it back. Harsh pass there. Ball on the ground now right as the first quarter ends. That shot's not going to count. A frenetic end to this quarter of play here at Reese Stadium. Bulldogs are up 3-2, but a fast-paced 15 minutes of action.
I'm not sure if with the nice wide angle of the HD was able to catch that, but that was about a 60-yard feed on a line, right on his stick. That was a beautiful outlet pass from the defenseman. Just talks about how great the sticks are on these Division I defensemen. Outstanding.
Great game awareness as well for Dartmouth. They're unable to see the clock. His back was to the clock, but knew that there were only a few seconds left in that quarter and just, you're right, rifled it downfield, pitch perfect rather, almost resulted in a shot for Dartmouth. As it stands right now, 3-2 Yale. 1 goal, 1 assist for Brandon Mangan, who's been active here early on. Kirby Zadrill picking up another goal yet again. So the key players for Yale, shining yet again.
Unfortunately, this is not a really great situation for Yale. They've really seemed to kind of control this first quarter, and yet they end with a 1-goal lead. They really need to start taking care of the ball and putting some of these other shots in and finish it and taking the lead. Put this game out of reach. You don't want to leave a team like Dartmouth in the game. Don't let it come down to that. Finish the game. Put it away early.
You look at this. You could see this as it being fortunate for Yale to only have allowed 2 goals for Dartmouth. Eric Natali had a couple big saves there, including one right on his doorstep by Casey Beard. Really for Yale, fortunate that they've only conceded 2 goals after that first quarter of play.
Yeah, Eric Natali doing an absolute fantastic job. Has really just been on for a good portion of for this whole season. Has played and really kept his team in the game.
Again, back-to-back games with 10 or more saves for Eric Natali. Coming into today's contest, averaging or giving up about 8.5 goals per game. Save percentage right around 54% on the season. So a solid play from him. Back on the face-off X. Again, the Bulldogs come away with it now. Picked up by Michael McCormick. Crossfield pass finding his other defenseman, Peter Johnson. Good ball movement from the Bulldogs, avoiding the pressure. Jimmy Kraft back with Harry Kucharczyk and the short stick.
And Jimmy Kraft really wants that ball.
He had a hard shot on Tuesday's contest that went right off the pipe. You can tell that he still wants that goal that he thought he deserved back in that game. Still only 1 assist on the season. He wants that first goal of the season.
And he wants to put the emphasis on it. That shot was probably the hardest shot we'd seen all season.
That was ripped. He had the goalie beat, just unfortunately finding the pipe. Sean Shakespeare, the sophomore out of Walpole, Massachusetts. Mangan quickly finds Oberbeck on the far side. Draws the double. Oberbeck manages to get out of there. Now with Shakespeare's got space. Shot took a deflection off of a Dartmouth player. Skaters back to Susskind. Shakespeare had space for that shot, just caught a defenseman on its way in on net.
And some good ball movement from Yale there, able to really avoid that double that Oberbeck was in and move the ball quickly to get a decent shot off.
Harrison McCarthy able to bring the ball over into the offensive area for Dartmouth. It's now with Adam Hull. Nicky Dysonchuk cycles it over on the far side with Cam Lee. Dartmouth players all getting a touch on the ball right now. Dysonchuk, defended by Michael Quinn. Behind the X now with Chris Constabile.
And Michael Quinn's really quietly developed into a very good long stick midi this year and close defender.
Cam Lee tripped up and goes down. Good defending from the Bulldogs. Again, Michael Quinn involved on that play.
And he got very lucky there that he didn't get called for a hold. That dangerously close.
I thought the officials were going to blow their whistles there, but instead it's just a good, clean turnover caused by Michael Quinn and the Bulldogs. Michael McCormick back to Natali. Kraft on the far side. Crossfield pass. Right on point with Ryan McCarthy. But we're going to get a 10-second failure to bring the ball in. Another turnover for Yale brings it right back to Dartmouth as the Bulldogs need to get back on defense. Brendan Rotans. Shot makes its way to Natali. Bounce save for Eric Natali. Here come the Bulldogs back on offense this time. Mark Lassini picked up the other goal for this Bulldog team in the first quarter. Otero finds its way over to Oberbeck. Oberbeck lost the ball there but picked it right back up. He's defended very closely by Eric Clemenson. Content to just get it back to Alex Otero. Loosely guarded by Johnny Carson. Otero's going to come off the field in favor of Colin Flaherty, who gathers the ball now on the near side right by the big Yale Y. That's a new addition to the field this year. Flaherty up against a short stick. Draws the double. Finds the drill now over to Mangan. Mangan to McCarthy with Harry Kucharzik. Ryan McCarthy against Clemenson. Here comes Overbeck looking to find someone in the slot. Looks to get a curl shot, save from Suskind. Overbeck's just going to play a little bit of polo, trying to shuffle it over to Kirby Zadrill, but Dartmouth, good defensive series from them. Ball on the near side with Mike Muller, who's going to loft this over. Find an open Casey Beard. Now it's Brendan Rotans. Chris Constabile cycles it back behind the cage for Dartmouth. Quiet period so far, 5 minutes gone here in the second quarter. Neither team with the goal here in the second quarter of play. Jake Wall on the near side. Trying pushed wide. Constabile. Up top now with Brendan Rotans. Up against Michael McCormick. Now with Constabile. Mike Olentine this time. Goes up against Harry Kucharzik. Olentine back behind the cage. Jake Wheel. Runs right into his defender. Picked off. Jimmy Kraft came away with that one, not even letting that one touch the ground. Good defense from Mark Lassini forcing that turnover. Here come the Bulldogs and Harry Kucharzik. Long pole, Jack Ambrose looked like he was thinking about a shot. Instead it goes back to with Kucharzik. Oberbeck now over to Mangan.
And one of the interesting things, we have not seen a timer-on situation yet this game. Very unlike all the other games we've seen this year.
That's true, and this Bulldogs offense has been very content to keep it slow. I'm a little bit surprised, you're right, that they haven't put a timer on. And obviously now I hope that I didn't jinx it, but
Well, I just saw Coach Towers step over and talk to the official. I'm not sure if he was saying do we need a timer on situation for him?
In Tuesday night's contest against Providence, there were a number of timer on situations for both teams. Ball now with Sean Shakespeare, over with Mangan. Low shot wide, coming from Shane Thornton, kept that one low all the way, well wide of the cage. Ball back with Sean Shakespeare, now with Brandon Mangan, who's moved from his traditional spot behind the X up to the top. Shane Thornton takes it on the far side. Trying to get in the slot. Dodge there, pulls a slide. Shakespeare back over with Mangan. Now with Bonacci. Right in front of the creases, Oberbeck, who is just pummeled before he can get the shot off. Still down is Oberbeck. He looks a little ginger as he tries to get back to his feet. Here comes Dartmouth, causing another turnover.
And that's the second high hit that he's taken today.
Dartmouth back on offense halfway through this second quarter. You get the first timeout of the game called by Dartmouth. Dartmouth certainly fired up after two good defensive series, just stymieing this Yale offense.
And Yale switching things up with Brandon Mangan. One of the things that we saw in the Penn game was Brandon Mangan switching to that midfielder position to try to create a little bit more offense from the midfield.
Bulldogs certainly haven't struggled to hold on to the ball. They've controlled it for long portions of this game, but just, especially in the second quarter, they haven't really been able to get many shots in on Susskind.
Yeah, and we see the Yale team come over to bench, and the trainer, Chris Pecora, first person he goes over and sees is Conrad Oberbeck, and he's checking on him just to make sure he's doing okay.
Yeah, the day Brandon Mangan gets his knee brace off, Conrad Oberbeck is just taking a beating right now for the Bulldogs. We'll take a look at halftime, the stats, but I'm interested to see how many turnovers this Bulldog team has committed here in this first half. Again, they're suffering from that bug as they have all season long.
Well, this second quarter, it seems to have been a difficult one for Yale the last 3-4 games of really kind of just lull, going into a lull, and then second half they really start to build up steam. They got to step up. They got to step it up this quarter and really finish this strong.
For Dartmouth, you really don't want to let them stick around longer than they have to, I guess. For a team like Dartmouth, if they can go into halftime down only 1 or 2 or even tied up, as now we have 7.5 minutes left before halftime, that gives them a lot of confidence. As again, a young team. I think 52% of this squad are underclassmen. A couple big freshmen having key moments for Dartmouth. If they continue to gain confidence as this game goes on, they're going to be a very hard squad to put away.
And this is senior day here. This is where the seniors have to step up, show the senior leadership, and really just take care. I mean, they've held Dartmouth to 2 goals so far. They just need to keep that defense strong, and the offense has to put the ball in the net.
Defense has looked good here, especially in this second quarter. Michael Quinn, Michael McCormick, and Peter Johnson have been just anchoring this Yale defense here today. Much better showing from them here in the second quarter. Play restarted now at Reese Stadium. Jumping now by Adam Hull, 40. Makes his way over to Chris Constabile. Looked for a shot, couldn't find anything working. Instead now it goes over with Casey Beard. Beard's pass deflected en route. It's on the ground now. Coming away with it is Jack Ambrose. Another strong showing from the defense. This time it's Ambrose trying to get away from pressure. Finds Otero. Good play from Ambrose, as Otero's going to jog this one into the offensive area.
Great shot. Coaches always tell the defenseman, have the sticks up in the passing lane. Don't have him down. His stick was there. He didn't really even have to move his stick a whole lot to knock that one down.
Now with Kirby Zadrill and Colin Flaherty. Ryan McCarthy just off the bench gathers the ball now for the Bulldogs. Hit a bit of a cold streak here in the second quarter. It's been a while since we've seen a shot that tests Susskind. Dartmouth goalie Bernie Susskind. McCarthy starting and going. Now over with Lippin. Far side back to Flaherty, over with Lippin again. Lippin takes some pressure, keeps it outside. Errant pass there as Colin Flaherty didn't watch that one in his stick long enough. Another turnover for the Bulldogs. 5:58 remaining. Dartmouth going to pick the ball back up on the far side. You see a number of people over there on the far side. That's because the bleachers here in front of us at the press box are absolutely packed. A great showing of spectators for both Dartmouth and, of course, for Yale on a beautiful Saturday afternoon.
And it's just the weather's been getting better and better the last couple days. 2 days ago it was freezing, 30 degrees out, windy, and now it's just a great day for lacrosse.
Certainly headed in the right direction and temperature-wise. Jeff Perkins up against McCormick. Over now with Constable, who has one of the 2 goals on the afternoon. Whistle goes against Dartmouth. It's going to be Yale ball now. Off the restart. Quick restart taken by Yale. Mark Lassini takes it back behind the cage.
Dartmouth has really played an excellent, very tight defense.
Lassini defended by Brendan Rotans. He's getting a lot of cheers out there in the bleachers in front of us. That's because he's from Westport, Connecticut, so sure a lot of friends and family not too far to travel for him.
His brother, a Duke alum, playing down there for, or Duke player for Coach Stanowski.
Kucharczyk cycles it over now for Michael Lippin. His pass takes a deflection. Sticks with the Bulldogs. You're going to rule out a shot now as Mangan backed him up.
And
Lippin catches, fires, shoots. Big save from Suskind. Off the rebound, goes out of bounds. A good save from Dartmouth as that was a shot, had a lot of power behind it coming from Lippin.
And that shot's made possible because one of the Dartmouth players had to sub off. And while he was subbing, Yale just used that quick 5-6 seconds for to get an open man opportunity.
Shane Thornton now off the bench for the Bulldogs. Back over with Kucharczyk, defended by Johnny Carson. Takes a pick from Thornton. Thornton looks to get this offense restarted. His pass batted out of the air by a Dartmouth defender. It's getting physical out there as Shane Thornton just barreled right into the Dartmouth player. No whistles. Dartmouth kept with it, but that pass too low. Another turnover back towards Yale this time. Physical play, though, the last 15 seconds.
Excellent, very clean hits. It was shoulders to the middle of the chest. Nobody went high. Nobody followed through. It's what you want to see, the good, physical, hard play, but just not trying to hurt anybody.
Sophomore out of Garden City, New York, Shane Thornton was the one that applied that hit to Dartmouth. Kucharczyk evades his defender. Found Thornton, whose pass tried to find Zadrill right in front of the crease. Unsuccessful, though, as Dartmouth's going to regain possession. Now with Bernie Suskind. Over with Eric Clemenson now on the far side. No pressure being applied to him by the Bulldogs. Now there's a bit more of pressure. And we're just 3 minutes away from the end of what has been a scoreless period, scoreless quarter here at Reese Stadium. Neither side having any particular kind of success in getting shots on the goalies.
Dartmouth was just able to beat that 10-second count, getting it in the box.
Now we get a timeout called for Dartmouth, their second of the half. 2:44 to go. They're going to try to draw up some sort of play, get themselves back at equal footing as they trail the Yale Bulldogs 3-2.
Yale's got to shoot. It's been kind of a shooting drought. They're trying to get in a little bit closer and really feed it in. They've got some guys who can shoot from the outside, and I think they have to create some space outside and get a couple of outside shots and test Susskind from a long range.
Has not been working, though, here in the second quarter. And do you think moving Mangan back up towards the top is the right way to go, or should he go back to where he normally is, back behind the X?
I think right now Yale's just got to try. I wouldn't, if it's broke, don't fix it. But something, we're going through a little of a drought. Let's change something. Let's give him a different look. So I have no problem with putting Brandon Mangan up top. But I think really just everybody's hesitating a little bit to shoot. You're seeing Yale really wind up with these big, long wind-ups, and they just need to get a quick shot off because Dartmouth is all over these trail checks, and that's why you're seeing these shots, the checks coming right at the end of it, and these shots going everywhere.
For Dartmouth, the senior Bernie Suskind in net. He's played all 9 games now for Dartmouth. Played 45 to 60 minutes last Saturday against Cornell. I think he gave up 17 goals. Obviously, not the same number of shots here today from Yale, but has played pretty well out there for Dartmouth. A couple of big saves from him. But you're right, the rest of this defense are doing a great job of just disrupting the shots, disrupting the passing lanes, and just preventing Yale from really testing Suskind.
Well, and you get embarrassed 21-5. it lights a fire on you, and that's what we're seeing out of the Dartmouth Big Green today.
The side shot took a deflection off of a Yale player and found the back of the net. 5 seconds after the timeout, we're back at even strength, 3-3.
And that's Chris Constable. Just a high C off of the crease, wide open. Nobody picks up Dartmouth's biggest point scorer.
It looked like it was number 2, Jack Ambrose, who was late on the slide, late in getting there, allowing Constable to pick up his second goal of the afternoon. We're back at 3 apiece. Big face-off upcoming now with only 2:37 remaining. Levins against Hessian again. And there's a third procedural violation against Dylan Levins. Off he comes. Bulldogs are going to be down a man.
And this is interesting. I'm very curious about what those first 2 kind of seemingly ticky-tack face-off calls that they had, and now you get a third, and they're trying to clean up the face-off game. I don't know that this is really. I don't know if this is really doing it.
Dylan Levins certainly frustrated. Came off the field rather, and walked all the way back behind the bench. Now his coach Andy Shea is getting an explanation from the official on what his star Fogo is doing wrong. This has not happened to Levins at all this season. He's at about 63% on the season, coming off an 89% effective rate Tuesday night. But here, 3 early procedural penalties called up against Dylan Levins.
And this is something that we saw one game last year where they just hammered him with violation after violation after violation. And it's, you get the different crews. And one of the things that drives coaches nuts is that you have 3 officials out there, and from game to game, are you going to get the same consistent game? We talk about, a game where it's 3-3, and we still have yet to see a timer on situation where last week at this point it was 8-5.
Yeah.
And we had timers on left and right. So, it's just not. And now with the face-off, Dylan Levins, who really hasn't gotten many procedural calls all year, and he's got 3 out of 6.
He had 2 to start the game. Seemed to have righted the ship, but then picked up another one right there. Now he's serving a minute penalty. Bulldogs down a man for the first time this afternoon. Dartmouth waiting to restart this game.
They're trying to get the clock, the penalty time right.
A minute penalty against Dylan Levins for Dartmouth. I think they're about 38% effective on the extra man offense so far this year, but went 0 for 4 in the Cornell game.
And Yale's just doing a great job with their keeping opponents from scoring. They're 265. They're letting their opponents score. That's really not bad.
Obviously, on the extra man offense, none other than Chris Constable leads the team with 4 goals for Dartmouth. So obviously, he's the player you want to watch out for. The Bulldogs have needed to keep an eye on him all afternoon long. We're caught sleeping a little bit on that previous goal as Constable had a lot of space in front of net, able to turn and fire that one back behind the tally. So it looks like they have it sorted out right now. Casey Beard looks to get the play restarted. 2:37 remaining. It's a 30-second penalty against Dylan Levins. Good movement from Dartmouth. Up to Constable. Takes a shot, bouncing over the cage. Natali out of net, trying to be the first one back. But new rule this year, if the goalie goes out of net, he doesn't get time to get back in the cage. So Natali has to be careful on that one. Didn't go too far from his net there. Turn shot. Hard pressure coming from Bulldogs, and Jimmy Kraft disrupting that shot. Natali out of net, taking a lot of pressure from a couple Dartmouth attackmen. Able to get its way over to Jimmy Kraft. Good play there from the Bulldogs. Down a man. We're back at even strength now within 2 minutes to play in the first half here at Reese Stadium. Game tied up at 3. Bulldogs have not had a goal yet here in the second quarter. Ball comes with Brandon Mangan.
Well, but this Yale team's a little fired up now. That great play.
There's a shot from Mangan right at Suskin, but why not? Bulldogs do need to shoot more. Mangan tried to take it in his own hands there. Shot with a lot of power behind it, but right at Suskin. Here comes Dartmouth. Shot in on Natali. No one knows where it is. Diving for it was a Dartmouth player, but we had a crease violation on the dive coming from Robbie Hoffman. Natali made the first big save, but it popped straight up right in front of the crease. No one really knew where it was except for Hoffman, who dove in trying to knock that one in the back of the net.
And it's just so outstanding to see this development of Eric Natal from a freshman last year who had a shaky couple of weeks to a kid now who's stepping up and is keeping his team in the game. And then he's making this great ground ball and leading to a clear and really firing up his team.
He's got a lot of confidence out there. A couple of huge saves here today. That last one, a very big save from him. Gives the Bulldogs possession now with under a minute to play. Far side, cycling, trying to find Kirby Zadrill, but Mangan backs him up. Up now with the Zadrill. Turns, fires wide. Oberbeck backs him up, turns, fires over the crossbar this time. Mangan backs him up as well. Now the Bulldogs getting a little bit more offensive fire out there from their stars. Get the timeout this time coming from Coach Andy Shea and the Bulldogs with 37.9 seconds remaining here in this first half. The Bulldogs got a fire under their belts right now.
3 quick shots. We'd love to see him connect, but really, this is what you need to see out of the offense. Some more energy, fired up. I'm not sure Coach Shea was looking over at the timers bench and hands up in the air, and not sure what was going on that he wasn't happy with. But Yale's offensively going to have to step it up. They need to do something in this. Make these last 40 seconds count. Put the ball in the net and really give some momentum for the second half.
Bulldogs averaging close to 12 goals per game, well off that average here today with only 3 in the first almost 30 minutes of play here at Reese Stadium. We've seen, though, 3 shots in the last 40 seconds or so, a lot more intensity after we had that penalty against Dylan Levings, I believe. Since that moment, both teams seem to be a lot more awake.
I really think that you're going to see, as low as the score is now, I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see Yale hit that 12-goal mark today.
They certainly have been known to go on runs. You look at Tuesday evening's game against Providence, I think they went on a 7-1 run in that second quarter. This Dartmouth team, they gave up 7 consecutive goals to Cornell on Saturday. And you look at Yale, for them to do that, you obviously need a great face-off specialist. They have one in Dylan Lemmings. Really the best way the Bulldog team can continue and create that kind of run. They just need to get some scoring out.
Well, they have a great face-off guy, but there's that X factor of the guys in the black and white, which are really kind of neutralizing that.
I mean, first for the Bulldogs, they need to start scoring, allow Levins to get a few more face-offs. Levins, I'm sure, during halftime is going to try to figure out what he was doing wrong, try to correct that against these very particular officials here this afternoon. Now with Mangan, play is restarted, 28 seconds remaining. Bulldogs going to look for one good possession. Ball knocked out of the stick of Ryan McCarthy. Gets it right back. Over with Colin Flaherty. 15 seconds left. Flaherty turns now with Mangan. Aaron just unable to hold on to John William McGovern. Ball came right out of his stick. 4 seconds to go. Bulldogs aren't going to get off a shot. Looks like right before the end of the half, though, we get a whistle as Brandon Mangan goes down. Looks like he took a stick to the back of the head. Play certainly getting physical out there as Mangan is up this right now.
And that's one that the officials got to be on top of. I mean, there are 3 guys hitting him in the back, and to just get a push with a second left, not a lot they can do there.
Bulldogs are going to limp into halftime right now. Physical half coming from Dartmouth. Both Conrad Overbeck, Brandon Mangan taking shots from this Dartmouth team that's going to be quite fired up heading into halftime. They're tied with the Bulldogs 3-3. a result that for this Bulldog team they did not want, they did not expect, and they really need to try to rectify during this 10-minute halftime period. Coach Andy Shea is going to try to figure out how to get things going as this Bulldog team was shut out here in the second quarter.
Yeah, and credit the Dartmouth defense. They went into a really good zone defense that Yale wasn't able to crack. And I think Yale's going to get in at halftime. They're going to talk about what can we do to change this. What do we do for this to battle this offense or this defense that Dartmouth's putting out there.
We're going to take a 7-minute break here for halftime. We'll be right back after 7 minutes to break down what we saw in the first half, discuss the stats. You're watching Yale All Access. For Pat Reed, I'm Paul Wasserman. Welcome back to Reese Stadium. For Yale All Access, I'm Paul Wasserman alongside Pat Reed. 30 minutes of play in the books for the Bulldogs as they take on the Dartmouth Big Green. We're knotted at 3 apiece for Dartmouth. 2 goals coming from Chris Constable, 16 on the season. The other goal coming from Billy Height. For Yale, goals by Brandon Mangan, Kirby Zadrill, and Mark Glissini. But a very tough going here on the offensive side of the ball for the Bulldogs. No goals in the second quarter. Really one of the first times all season long we've seen that happen. Turnover is a big part of that story for the Bulldogs, 8 on the afternoon. Another thing that jumps out to me looking at these stat sheets, Pat, 20 shots for Yale, but only 8 on target. They've managed to put 3 behind Suskind, but the other 5, pretty good saves from the Dartmouth goalie, but the Bulldogs just need to put more than 8 shots on target in a half.
Yeah, and even when we saw that rush towards the end of the half, the 3 shots, they were in close, but they weren't on net. Yeah. And Yale's just they've got to capitalize on these opportunities and put the ball in the net.
And for Dylan Levings, went 5 of 8 from the faceoff X. The 3 he didn't get were the 3 procedure calls against him. We'll have to see if he's figured out what he's being whistled for here. You're right, officiating different game to game. No timer on situations through 30 minutes of play, though there certainly could have been a few. And for Dylan Levings, his first procedural, just getting hounded by these procedural calls.
And very few calls in general.
Yeah.
I mean, we're watching guys getting beat up all over the field.
Here we go with Dylan Levings, who wins the faceoff now again for the Bulldogs. We see Brandon Mangan now with the ball. He's back out there after taking that vicious shot to the back of the helmet to end the first half. Conrad Overbeck out there as well for Yale. Ryan McCarthy gathers the ball now. Colin Flaherty comes on as Michael McCormick drops back behind the midfield line. Kucharczyk back over with Flaherty. Bulldogs started the game off quite well, going 2 for 2 on their opening offensive possessions, but since that time have quieted down drastically. Bernie Suskind with 5 saves there in the first half. Senior out of Florida. Now we see Conrad Oberbeck trying to curl around, shot wide. Brandon Mangan chases this one down, defended by Pat Flynn. Bulldogs couldn't pick up the loose ball. But fortunately for them, Dartmouth player Robert Osgood stepped on the touchline, whistled out of bounds, goes back with Yale now, 13:51 left here in the third quarter of play. Colin Flaherty tried to blow by his defender, but poked out of his stick was the ball. And here comes Dartmouth now. Got numbers. Shot save from Natali. That one had pace behind it. Shot coming from Constable. Looked like he was going to get his 3rd goal of the afternoon, but what a save from Natali. Here comes Oberbeck now back on the offensive for the Bulldogs. Shot bounced wide.
And again, we've got a shot on net for Dartmouth coming back down. We've seen just 2 off-target shots for Yale. They need to get that ball going into the net.
Huge save from the goalie for the Bulldogs to start this second half off. That one was a heater going upper right. Eric Natali able to get his stick there in time. Bulldogs back on the offensive now. Kucharczyk gathers it against Harrison McCarthy now on the far side. Kucharczyk with the spin, takes a shot again off target. Bouncing shot out of bounds. Conrad Overbeck does a good job backing up the ball.
And Harry Kucharczyk we're really seeing develop into an offensive-minded player. People remember last year he was a long stick midi.
Colin Flaherty faces tight pressure from Dartmouth. Finds Mangan back behind the cage. Now with Ryan McCarthy. He tries to curl around the X. Still with McCarthy. Over now to Colin Flaherty. McCarthy defended by Osgood. Trots it back out. With Kucharczyk. Bulldogs have held on to the ball for the last few minutes, but still no timer warning in effect. They get a flag down. McCarthy turns, shoots off the post from his knees. Had Susskind beat, but couldn't beat that pipe. With Dartmouth regaining possession, we're going to get that whistle finally called. With 11:44 to go, Bulldogs are going to go on their first EMO of the afternoon.
And that's a good call. The ball was clearly away. No need to take that slash and just take it was just a cheap shot.
You get a 1-minute penalty upcoming against Mike Muller. Play is going to restart right now with Conrad Oberbeck. Kirby's a drill, back behind the cage now with McCarthy. Cycles it over to Mangan. Oberbeck back to Mangan. John William McGovern. Now with Oberbeck. This is a drill. Drill looking for the shot. Now it's Oberbeck. Over to Mangan, who wants a shot, takes a shot. Save scooped up by Susskind. Big shot from Mangan. Bigger save from Susskind. Here comes Dartmouth. Down a man, 30 seconds left. The long stick pole looking for a shot. Now to Constable, who's going to back this one out. Try to eat up the rest of this penalty. Still 20 seconds remaining on it. Mike Olentine now is going to take it all the way back towards midfield line. 10 seconds left to go. Casey Beard takes a look at the clock, sees that the penalty has just about been expired. We're back at even strength now as off the bench comes Cam Lee. Bulldogs able to get a good shot from Brandon Mangan, but a big save from Dartmouth, keeping this game knotted at 3 apiece. Constable cycles it back to Beard. Dyson Chuck over on the far side with Cam Lee. Cam Lee cycles it here on the near side. Beard defended by Alex Otero. Up top with Olentine. This goes back to Cam Lee. Out to defend him is Peter Johnson. Nicky Dyson-Chuck over to Beard. Beard draws a short stick Otero.
And this Yale defense is playing just really tough, tight defense.
And there's the first timer on situation of the afternoon. Dartmouth has 30 seconds to get a shot in on net. Flags down after that hit. It's going to be a penalty upcoming against the Bulldogs.
And a good call. A good call is a slash to the head, just inadvertent, but still, when there's that contact to the head, it's a point of emphasis for the officials this year.
1 minute slash on number 35, Jimmy Kraft. Bulldogs down a man for the second time this afternoon.
And for people who aren't sure about how the timer on works, the officials have their 20-second timer, their 20-second buzzer that goes on their belt. So they'll start it then, and then when that goes off, they'll hand count the 10 so that they know what's left.
Dartmouth cycling the ball around. Now with Casey Beard. Good ball movement, but couldn't keep onto the ball. Was Constable, but remains with Dartmouth. Big shot, took a high hop over the cage. Vitali out of his net, trying to be the one closest to the ball. Couldn't get there, though. Constable scoops the ball back up. 30 seconds remaining on the extra man opportunity for Dartmouth. Beard near side. Gives it back to Cam Lee. Took a deflection. Constable out of his area. Shot. Score for Constable. Third one of the afternoon for Constable, giving Dartmouth a 4-3 lead here at Reese Stadium.
And that's a lot of what we need to see Yale do on offense today. The Big Green, not really a really in-close shot. They've just created a little shooting lane and took that shot from the distance. And that's how you break down that zone defense. You take some shots from the outside, and that's something we haven't seen from Yale today. I know we do have those outside threats. John William McGovern being one of them. A couple, Brandon Mangan's got a decent outside shot, and a couple of guys that we just have to force the Dartmouth to come out and play them.
Dartmouth has come out of halftime really managing to silence this Yale team and the Yale fans accompanying them. Take a look at the stands. The entire right side are all Yale supporters. They're firmly seated, not clapping about anything. They have nothing to really cheer about. Meanwhile, we have Dartmouth over here. I don't think they really expected to be leading Yale this late into this game. Up 4-3 now, halfway through the third quarter. Off of right now a hat trick coming from Chris Constable, giving him 17 goals on the season. He's picked a very good day to sort of explode for his highest output of the season so far. Bulldogs look to get back in the offensive tally zone with Kirby Zadrill now back behind that cage with Conrad Oberbeck. Shane Thornton, as Yale still trying to figure out some way to get back and get some shots in on Susskind. Really just struggled to apply any kind of offensive threat here since the first quarter. That's Shakespeare. Now was Thornton. Shot took a deflection as he tried to rip that one. Goes high and wide. Play is going to be restarted with Oberbeck now on the near side. Weaves in, defended by Pat Flynn. Oberbeck looks to turn towards the cage. Good defense, though, from Flynn. Forces Conrad Oberbeck to give the ball back up top to Bonacci. Now it's with Sean Shakespeare. Oberbeck back towards Mangan. Mangan jumps, shot well wide there. Mangan hits the ground again. Mangan certainly not afraid to take shots here today. Bulldogs would need more of that, not only from him, but from the rest of this offensive side of the Bulldog team. Bonacci now over with Thornton. Defended by Robert Osgood. Thornton switching hands, looking to get an edge in on net. Shakespeare. Back to Thornton. Errant pass is going to be picked off by Eric Clemenson. Bulldogs had an extended possession there, but were unable to get any real shot in on net. Another turnover gives the ball back towards Dartmouth. Here they come, looking to extend their advantage. Chris Constable, near side, defended by Jimmy Kraft. Brendan Rotans.
And Yale needs something to kind of get that fire under him. A big play. Somebody's got to get the motivation up and really turn this team on.
Bulldogs really cannot afford a loss here today. The rest of the Ivy League play, really you have to see as must-win games, especially this one against an 0-2 Dartmouth in the Ivy League. Bulldogs certainly need to win this one. Shot somehow sneaks its way behind the tally. 5-3 Dartmouth. They're the ones right now with all the momentum. Bulldogs need to try to figure something out, as Bulldogs now trail by their biggest deficit of the day. A 2-goal lead now for Dartmouth.
And this is where I'd love to see Dylan Levings a little pinch and pop face off and start a fast break to really just get something going, get this team fired up.
Unable to win it though. Hessian wins the ball right back for Dartmouth. As here they come again, 2 unanswered to start the second half, looking for a third. So we're going to get a timeout now called. 5:35 left here in the third quarter. Bulldogs need to get something going as they trail by 2.
And Brandon Mangan kind of hobbling in here, limping into the huddle here.
If he needs to go out, for Coach Shea, who goes in to replace him? Who becomes that next offensive scoring threat for the Bulldogs?
Well, I think you look at either really Conrad Oberbeck or Ryan McCarthy being your guy that's initiating the dodges. And really it's something that they might need to. They need to switch something up. Clearly things aren't working. Let's try something, open things up a little bit on offense. And I think Coach Shea's probably right now saying, put the ball in the net. If it's on net, we're making the goalie look good because the ball's going it's either going into a stick or it's going not even hitting the net, and we just need to put the ball in that 6x6 area.
And what about this Dartmouth defense, though? They seem to be doing a much better job since that first quarter, just not allowing Yale to get good looks close on goal and really just forcing this Yale team to take, tough shots that have been hacked at as they've been trying to shoot. How do you go about trying to beat this different Dartmouth defense?
Well, the ball movement, a lot of cuts off balls, and really just moving the ball quickly to get guys free. This Dartmouth team, it's very well coached. They're a very disciplined zone right now. It's going to be tough to beat.
Play restarted back with Nicky Dyson-Chuck, cycles it over to Beard. Beard on the near side, draws a short stick. James Charkson, his first action of the afternoon. Constable cycles it over with Lee. Lee now over with Dyson-Chuck up against Charkson, the short stick. Constable. Shot by Beard wide of the cage and out of bounds. Great hustle play from Jimmy Kraft, getting the closest to the touchline, giving the Bulldogs possession now. 5:02 remaining in the third quarter. Great hustle play from Kraft. McCormick back now towards the tally.
That's something we've seen out of Jimmy Kraft for the last couple of weeks, really stepping things up and showing his speed.
Big time hustle from him as Dartmouth was looking fairly aggressive on their last offensive possession. Good ball movement from them. Found an open Beard whose shot just took a bounce up and over the net. Fortunately for the Bulldogs. Here they come now on offense. McCarthy trying to find Zadrill. Zadrill went to take the shot before the ball was in his stick. Overbeck backs him up nicely now as it's with Mangan. Comes now to Lippin. Lippin crossfield towards Flaherty, right back to Lippin. Here comes Lippin. Rather Flaherty. Again, hard defense coming from Dartmouth. In comes Flaherty. Shot wide of the cage yet again, though, for Yale.
And Brandon Mangan is noticeably hobbling back there.
Yeah, very slow hustle there to get that ball. Almost didn't win that chase for possession. Now with Michael Lippin. Brings it back towards the face-off X. Colin Flaherty up against Robbie Hoffman. Now back towards Mangan, his first touch of this offensive series. Lippin just couldn't hold on to the ball, tried to bring it in. Picked off by Eric Clemenson. But Clemenson unable to keep it in his stick. Right back with the Bulldogs and Conrad Overbeck. Good hustle play from him. Zadrill, who's been pretty quiet since his first goal early on in the first quarter. Now with Ryan McCarthy. In on net, bounce wide again of the net. Sticks with Mangan and the Bulldogs, but again, a good look for Yale. Just can't put it on net.
And you don't get much closer than that.
Here comes Mangan. He's going to get a lot of pressure now as he draws a double. Still with it is Mangan. Falling. Shot wide again from Mangan. Took a lot of hits there, though, from two Dartmouth defenders. I'm sure that does not help the way he's feeling out there.
I really feel like I think I heard Billy Madison yelling in the background, is this thing regulation or what?
Mangan remains in the game, though. McCarthy takes a shot. There's a save by Suskin. A hard shot. Low shot coming from McCarthy, forcing Suskin to make a big save. And you see Mangan limping again. You got to wonder, how much longer is Coach Shea going to leave him out there?
I would be very surprised to see Coach Shea take him out here if he can move on his own.
Okay. Pressure there as the Zolan team goes down. We're going to get a whistle, though. Called for a timeout for Dartmouth. That's a good timeout from their coaches. Dartmouth look to be struggling to hold on to the ball now. 2:22 left in the third quarter, and the scoring drought continues for Yale as they're well over half an hour since their last goal.
Well, I'm a little surprised to take that timeout there. 2:22 left in the third, and you're out of timeouts.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're using that as a, just making sure that your team knows, hey, we're out of timeouts now, so we have to really possess that ball. But hey, you want to always keep one in the back pocket.
Dartmouth coach must really think how important this third quarter of play is for the rest of the game. If the Dartmouth can go into the fourth quarter still with a 2-goal lead or even a 3-goal lead, I'm sure that kind of confidence is what he must be looking for with his second time out.
Yeah, and really, I can't figure out what's going on with the Yale shooters right now. I mean, they're getting good penetration, 2 shots. We say shooters want to get to 5 and 5, 5 yards up from the goal line, extended 5 yards out from the center of the goal, and they're at probably 3 and 3, and they're still missing the net, and that's tough. They really need to just get a shot on the net and put it in the net, and things will start going right.
That last offensive series for the Bulldogs saw them with a couple of those 5 and 5s, one by Kirby Zadrill, the other by Brandon Mangan. Got good looks, got good shots, just a couple inches, a foot or two wide of the net. Just inexplicable, really, that they haven't been able to put more in on Bernie Suskind.
And we're getting a crunch time now. Have to get that ball in the net.
For the Bulldogs, their lowest scoring output of the season came in their victory against Penn a week and a half ago. They put up 7 goals in that game. Right now, they're sitting at only 3. Dartmouth with the ball. Mike Olentine on the far side. Makes it way up to Jake Wall. Now with Brandon Rotans, the Westport, Connecticut native. Olentine blocks that ball down with his chest, scoops it up now. Takes hard pressure there from Jimmy Kraft. Great job knocking that ball out, but can't chase it down. But they're going to say last touch by Dartmouth. Dartmouth coaches cannot believe that.
And the Dartmouth coaches are yelling, and they want it to go the other way. And the Yale players upset because they want a quick restart. They want to get that ball down the field.
Harry Kucharczyk brings it downfield now for the Bulldogs over with Oberbeck. Now back behind the cage. Mangan's still in there as well. Now with Shane Thornton on the near side in front of the big Y.
I have a feeling at the end of this game that I don't think either coach would be saying very positive things about these officials.
We've seen only one timer situation the entire day so far. We've seen 3 procedural violations called against Dylan Levings. And right now, Dartmouth certainly not happy with the way that call went right in front of their bench. As Conrad Oberbeck brings it in. Turns, fires, scores for the Bulldogs, ending the scoring drought. Pulls the Bulldogs back within 1. Conrad Oberbeck finally finds the back of the net.
And Yale there, they just kept spread. The Dartmouth slide was coming, and the question was just, is he going to get this shot off before that slide comes in? for the shots that he's taken today, I'm glad he got that shot off.
Great turn and fire from Conrad Oberbeck. First goal of the night for him. Give him 21 goals on the season. You're talking, if Brandon Mangan's a little hobbled, who's going to have to step up? You mentioned Conrad Oberbeck. Good time for him to get that goal now with 54.7 seconds left here in the third quarter. That's the kind of thing that can create some momentum headed towards that fourth quarter.
Absolutely. Big face-off here for Dylan Levings.
Levings comes away with it. Huge win for the Bulldogs. Here they come again, trying to draw even. Levings look to take it in on net, backs it out now as he's going to jog off. A good win for him. As Conrad Oberbeck gathers it up. Harry Kucharczyk has it now. 30 seconds left here in the third quarter. Bulldogs looking for one last offensive opportunity. Glycini. You have Michael Kesey, number 10, in there for the first time all afternoon. Now it's with Mark Glycini. He loses his feet back up with the ball. Shuffles it over, 4 seconds. Shot saved from Suskind. Shot coming from Harry Kucharczyk. Long field pass is not going to find the stick of anyone. Another slow period quarter of play here at Reese Stadium. Only 3 total goals, 2 for the Dartmouth and 1 for the Bulldogs. It's going to see Dartmouth heading into the fourth quarter up 5-4. Bulldogs unable to get a goal for over 30 minutes of game time. That streak just came to an end with a Conrad Oberbeck goal, his first of the night. Big goal. We'll see if the Bulldogs can carry that momentum into the fourth quarter.
Hey, absolutely. This Bulldog team, full of scorers. we talk about every week that they're really, you have Brandon Mangan who really kind of is the spark plug for the offense. You've got Kirby Zadrill who finishes in close. You've got Conrad Overbeck who's another good finisher. But you've got 8 different scorers from last week, and really up and down the roster, there's guys who can really show up and give you that 1 or 2 goals that you need. And right now, that's all that Yale needs: 1 or 2 goals and take that lead and get this game back in control.
Looking at the scoring list for today's game, 4 different scores for the Bulldogs. Conrad Overbeck picked up that last one. Mark Glacini as well. He has one. Mangan with 1. And Kirby's the drill with 1. So obviously the usual suspects in there. We're going to have to see who else can step up for the Bulldogs now with only 15 minutes of play left in regulation here at Reese Stadium. Headed into the fourth quarter, keep in mind Dartmouth without any more timeouts. That could come back to bite them now as they're only up 1. We'll see what kind of Yale team comes out to start this fourth quarter. One that's very aggressive, able to put shots in on Susskind, or the other side that we've seen for the majority of today's game. One that just can't seem to unwrap that goal and just puts everything wide.
And Dylan Levings is going to start it off. He's walking up. He's looking very focused, and he's hopefully going to take this face-off.
Levings versus Hessian. I don't think Levings has lost a legitimate face-off here today. They've all been procedural calls against him. This one scoots back to Kraft, who picks it up and has his stick just whacked. Down goes the ball. Quick little shuffle, and there's a big face-off win for Dartmouth. Huge way for them to start off this fourth quarter. Suskind's going to carry the ball out of the net. Over now to Clemenson on the far side. Errant pass, though, scooped up by the Bulldogs. Here they come for the first time in this fourth quarter on the offensive side. It's Kucharczyk. Kucharzyk's seen a lot of action out here today. Has played pretty solidly out here for the Bulldogs. Now to Shane Thornton.
And it's really, like we said before, Harry Kucharczyk really becoming a very big part of this offense. Only a sophomore, a lot of improvement since last year, and really going to be a huge part of this offense for the next 2 years.
A lot of big sophomore play out there as Sean Shakespeare, another sophomore, takes a shot off the stick of Susskind. But the sophomores for the Bulldogs, including Shakespeare, Thornton, and obviously Overbeck, have been quite active out here this season for the Bulldogs. As here comes Dartmouth looking to get a quick shot. Ball down. Scooped up by number 19, Austin Cohen. Dartmouth looks a little bit excited to start this fourth quarter. Their passing seems a little bit too high, but able to hold on to it now on the offensive side.
And some very physical play out of this Yale defense.
Cam Lee cycles it over to Beard. Beard defended by Mark Glacini. Peter Johnson in on a hard defense. Great job by Johnson forcing the turnover. Jimmy Kraft in to scoop up the loose ground ball. Pass finds McCormick, now up to Glacini. Great defensive pressure from the Bulldogs on that series. Bulldogs back in on the offensive side. Harry Kucharczyk, defended now by Beard. Dumps it out to McCarthy. Colin Flaherty, another sophomore out there for the Bulldogs now with the ball. Bulldogs trail by 1, looking for the equalizer. Last goal came from a Conrad Overbeck turn and shoot goal from the sophomore out of Greenwich, Connecticut.
And Yale getting Michael Kesey back into the action here.
It's number 10 on your screens, Michael Kesey. Overbeck. Over to McCarthy. Back towards Overbeck. Looks for the feed to Flaherty. Shot! Score for the Bulldogs. We're even here at Reese Stadium. Great goal from Colin Flaherty, his first of the afternoon.
And this is where you're going to see the ball movement. This Dartmouth defense has been all over the place all game, running around, and that's really the first time that they haven't, that slide, that next pass, they haven't been able to get out there and get that shot, and that's just a great 5-hole goal.
Great movement from Conrad Overbeck. He's going to be credited with that assist. Colin Flaherty, great job putting that one in on net. Good placement, Great goal for the sophomore. 8th goal of the season. Couldn't have come at a better time now. 11:50 to go. We're here knotted even at 5 apiece. Off of the faceoff win, Dartmouth gives the ball right back to Dylan Levings, and here he comes. Dylan Levings may not be as effective as he was Tuesday evening, but, you know, certainly hustling out there, scooping up that loose ground ball.
Yeah, lost the faceoff, but gets the excellent defense and gets that ball back.
I'm sure he'll take that every single time. As Michael Kesey back in again for the Bulldogs. Now to Mangan. Over with Oberbeck. Been involved on the last 2 goals for Yale. He turns, shot, score for Oberbeck. Oh no, rather that one went wide. I got a little bit too excited here. I thought that one went in. Oberbeck shot a little wide for Yale.
You and everybody else on the Yale side thought that was a goal.
Oberbeck really starting to heat up there now. Great turn from him. Just unlucky not to get that goal. Here comes Dartmouth now trying to quiet things back down, regain a bit of their composure. Brennan Rotans, defended by Harry Kucharczyk, now with Ambrose on him. Unable to get the ball and brings it right back towards Yale. So now it's Dartmouth that is just struggling to hold on to the ball. A couple huge turnovers here in this 4th quarter.
The Yale ride just doing a great job, just stifling them from getting it across the midfield.
Mangan now on the near side. Colin Flaherty scored the last goal for Yale. Here comes Shane Thornton, back to Flaherty. Defended by Robbie Hoffman. Flaherty goes right at Hoffman. Looks to blow by him, gets a shot. Save from Susskind. Here comes Dartmouth on the counter. And another big hit from Shane Thornton. Goes right at Hoffman. Hoffman able to hold on to the ball. But that pass, you see Mangan, great job just beating in on Susskind. And a dive there knocks the ball loose. Brandon Mangan, great hustle from him. Yale back with the ball. Now to Thornton. Turn, shot wide. Mangan's going to limp his way down, being the closest to that ball. Dartmouth is certainly not happy about the past few series of events here.
And it starts with a possibly helmet-to-helmet hit, and it was a really tough play there.
Pass there couldn't be handled by Sean Shakespeare. Here comes Robert Osgood and the Dartmouth attack now with Costabile. And all the momentum that Brandon Mangan was able to generate before that all goes away with that turnover. Dartmouth now settles it back down. 9:05 to play here at Reese Stadium. 5 apiece. Cam Lee gathers the ball now with Dartmouth. Costabile, 3 goals on the afternoon for him. Dysonchuk, who's been pretty quiet all afternoon, one of the leading scorers for Dartmouth. Dysonchuk dumps it back behind the cage. Look for Costabile right in front of the crease, but taken down hard. Here comes the Bulldogs. Alex Otero is going to jog this one in. Content to allow Yale to set up their offense. Shakespeare. Pressure coming from Austin Cohen. We're going to get a flag down for that. Bulldogs.
I think Coach Towers may run out and actually tackle one of these coaches or one of these officials. He's off the sideline screaming and yelling. It was a slap check to the back.
Ryan McCarthy's shot goes wide. Certainly neither coach happy with officiating here today. Andy Shea had more of a reason to be upset in the first half. Right now, the coach of Dartmouth is just livid. Coach Towers certainly not happy with the calls out there.
You can hear the Dartmouth fans are not happy. It's a very simple call. It was a slap check to the middle of the back. It was nowhere near the stick. It's a penalty, yes. There's been a lot of physical play here that they haven't called. So for him to call something that's questionable like that, it wasn't like he was unloaded on him trying to hurt him.
Gives the Bulldogs a man advantage for the next minute. See Sean Shakespeare finding Brandon Mangan. Back to Mangan, who's played through a number of hard hits here today. Thornton finds Shakespeare, now over to Mangan. Dangerous pass there, picked off, ill-advised. Robert Osgood able to get his stick in that passing lane and picks it off now with Dartmouth. Crossfield pass finds Mike Muller. Bulldogs a hard ride here, trying to create a turnover. Brennan Rotanz does a very good job bringing the ball in. Here the Dartmouth fans starting to pick up their cheers. 8 seconds left on the penalty. Jake Wheel now has it on the far side, defended by Alex Otero. So we're back at even strength. In off the bench comes Jack Connolly, number 21. Getting down to the wire here at Reese Stadium. 5 for Yale, 5 for Dartmouth. Last two, though, coming for Yale as they've clawed their way back into this game. Jack Wheel. Now back behind the cage comes Mike Olentine. Jack Connolly this time. Over to Kostabile, who loses the ball briefly from his stick, picks it back up. Defended by Harry Kucharczyk, the short stick. It's a tough challenge for Kucharczyk. Errant pass for Adam. Wall on the ground. Turnover caused by the Bulldogs. They've had a couple big ones here in this fourth quarter. Adam Hull just unable to hold on to that pass off the relentless pressure from the Bulldog defenders. Here comes Kucharczyk. Finds Flaherty.
And you got to wonder what's going on if Yale really just came into this game and really didn't expect Dartmouth to, were they looking past Dartmouth, onto Brown and Stony Brook coming in the next week.
Bulldogs not having the best luck in terms of scheduling. They had a quick turnaround for this game after a Tuesday evening game against Friars. A normal Saturday contest against Brown is actually going to be this Friday evening. So, it is very possible that they just didn't have enough time to prepare for this one and was looking ahead towards a Brown contest next Friday. But to get there, the Bulldogs first need a win here this afternoon. Not at 5 apiece. Ryan McCarthy up against Muller. Turn, shot, save from Suskin. Shot coming from Conrad Oberbeck off the rebound, gathered by Pat Flynn.
Five minutes left. I don't think any of us thought we were going to see a 5-5 fourth quarter score here.
For me, the only way I imagined Dartmouth to still win this game was, if they caught fire scoring at maybe 9-9 or something like that. But right now, the Bulldogs with only 5 goals, 2 coming in this fourth quarter. Or rather, 1 to end the third quarter. We got a whistle goes against Dartmouth again. Dartmouth fans, Coach Towers not pleased at all.
Well, and it really probably should have been a trip more than a push.
Errant pass, though, gives the ball right back to Dartmouth. Bulldogs just can't hold on to any sort of momentum here today. Get a timeout now by Coach Andy Shea. 4:37 left. 5-5. Bulldogs have had opportunities. They put more balls on net here in this fourth quarter, but turnovers like that certainly don't help.
No, they certainly don't. And those are the turnovers that we've seen from Yale all season. And it's really, that's their Achilles heel right now is these turnovers, these passes. It's the little things. How many times during practice do you make that same, pass? So many coaches talk about not doing regular line drills because when do you ever pass running towards someone? And that's exactly what that was right there. You're running right at him. You're looking at him. You make a nice straight pass, and the ball goes out of bounds. It's something you have to work on every day.
Conrad Oberbeck, number 9 for Yale. Big reason why they've been able to claw themselves back in this contest. 1 goal on the afternoon, but a big assist finding Colin Flaherty to knot this game back up. This quarter, he's really taken charge after Brandon Mangan's been a little bit hobbled out there, but you saw the hustle from Mangan, despite him really not having 2 full legs under him. He's willing to put it all out on the line, and we saw that last year too with his leg injury. Today he gets that brace off and gets hobbled a little bit again, but certainly not giving up. Brandon Mangan just fights to the end.
Brandon Mangan you're absolutely right. He fights the end. He doesn't quit. Every play, every minute, he's going to give you everything that he hasn't. And that's really the mentality of this whole Yale team. They're a bunch of scrappy little fighters. They're a very underappreciated team.
Casey Beard looks to restart play now with Dartmouth. Back to Clemenson. Back up towards Beard. Beard certainly has got some speed, but Michael Quinn does a good job staying with him. Forces the ball over now with Adam Hull, who draws the short stick, Mark Glissini. 4:12 left to play in regulation. Chris Costabile, who's been silent since his third quarter flurry of goals that gives him 3 now in the game. Hull back over to Costabile, defended by Kraft. Cam Lee now on the far side. Picked up by Harry Kucharczyk. Now with Adam Hull.
And again, really surprised we're not seeing a timer on situation at some point.
Only one so far this afternoon. That one called against Dartmouth early in the third quarter. And there it is. There's a second one of the afternoon. 30 seconds for Dartmouth to shoot. Ball with Adam Hull. Draws the double pressure, able to hold on to the ball still. Dangerous pass, finds its way to Chris Costabile as he falls, shot wide. So that's going to not cancel the timer warning, right, because it wasn't on net.
Yeah, I believe it wasn't on net, so that timer is still on.
Still in effect as Adam Hull gets things going. Hull up top to Cam Lee's shot, bounces well over Eric Natali in the net. Closest to the ball was the Bulldogs. They take over again, 3 minutes left to play.
And that's where you really get hurt by that timer on. If you're not hitting the net, ball goes the other way. This is a critical possession for the Yale Bulldogs.
Bulldogs need to be able to get this clear done successfully to get in the offensive zone. Need to get up there soon as they're going to dump it now on the far side, scooped up. They're trying to scoop it up as Kucharczyk who gets there. Good job by the Bulldogs getting it into the offensive area. Brandon Mangan's going to take this back out. Picked up by Pat Flynn. McCarthy gives it right back to Colin Flaherty. In comes Shane Thornton. Shane Thornton up against Robbie Hoffman, draws the slide. Dishes it back out now to Colin Flaherty. Flaherty takes it in against 2. Shot wide of the net. Mangan backs him up. Ball stays with the Bulldogs. 1:59 left to play here in the fourth quarter. Overbeck looks to bring it in. Curls around Kirby Zadrill. Up against the short stick. Overbeck looks one way, goes the other. Shot! Save from Suskin. It's going to trickle all the way out by the Dartmouth bench. Still with the Bulldogs, despite a desperate slide from the Dartmouth defender. Colin Flaherty evades his 2 defenders in on that shot. Score for the Bulldogs. Colin Flaherty, as a flag is thrown, gives the Bulldogs their first lead in almost half an hour of play here at Reese Stadium. What a goal from him, evading 2 defenders.
And there was actually a push called on it. I think it'll be not. I'm thinking it's going to be wiped out because of the goal. Wiped out because of the goal, but just a huge goal for Colin Flaherty.
Unassisted goal for Colin Flaherty. Blew by 2 defenders right there. Got right in on the crease. Suskin did not stand a chance from Colin Flaherty's second goal of the afternoon. He's got the last 2 goals, 2 huge goals, a game-time goal, and right now the goal that's giving them the lead. As we've lost power from the scoreboard, so not sure exactly how much time is left. 1:28 it has on our scoreboard. You see on our scoreboard it says third quarter, should be fourth quarter. I don't think we have the right graphic up. I think we're still on the hockey scoreboard. So we only have first period, second period, third period. So that's actually fourth quarter right there. So we're 88 seconds away from the end of this game. Right now the Bulldogs leading 6-5.
And another huge face-off for Dylan Lemmings. Has to, what is he going to be able to pull this one out? Dartmouth's been they've had a little bit of success against them.
We're still trying to get this timer situation worked out. The scoreboard is just blank right now, and I'm always a little bit fearful when I see that, because up here in the press booth, I stand right next to the main scoreboard computer, so I'm always a little worried that I may have accidentally hit something. I'm going to hope I didn't.
It was with the goal, and I did see you jumping up and down over there. So,
so I'm a little hesitant. I might not be invited back to the press box after today.
And there's a problem, and Coach Tower is not happy. In general, he really saw this as a game, just such an important game, and he played. And now he's very upset about the clock not working. He's trying to figure out what they can do to fix it. And he looks at this as something that's going to hurt his team. And I think he's looking to try to get, is there some kind of procedural call that they can maybe get something? One of the strange things that, if the field's lined wrong, it can be a penalty assessed. So is this something that's going to affect them?
But for Dartmouth, it seems like, Yale right now has a lot more of the momentum. So this delay doesn't seem to really hurt them, as we're going to get play restarted now with time being kept on the field. We got 1 minute and 28 seconds left. Levine, a big face-off win now for the Bulldogs. Great job from him. He's going to find the stick of Michael McCormick. Long stick. Finds Obeck, who gets his pocket just picked. Zadrill in, tries to force a turnover. Now 1:05 left, and we're going to go off the timer that we have up here for Yale All Access. Another turnover, though. Coach Towers is not happy right now.
And Yale dodged a bullet there. I was really expecting Coach Shea to call a timeout.
Said Coach Shea elected to try to let his players figure out how to remain with the ball. They couldn't do that. Now with Zadrill. Hard pressure, though, from Dartmouth. Here's the second and final timeout for Coach Andy Shea. 51 seconds left to play here in the fourth quarter. Bulldogs up 6-5. It has been quite the comeback for this Bulldog team that after that third quarter really just could not get anything in on Suskin. Very different story here, though, in the fourth quarter.
And that's what Coach Shea expects out of this team. They are a four-quarter, every minute, don't ever give up, don't ever stop playing team. And it may not be pretty. They don't have the pretty goal scorers. We did have Kirby Zadrill with a fantastic behind-the-back goal last week, but they're really not a pretty lacrosse team. They're a gritty, blue-collar lacrosse team, which is the work ethic that he's instilled in this program. And it is a good win for them. Take it. It's a win. Come back next week. The only concern I would see is, are other teams going to look at what Dartmouth did and say, okay, is this the blueprint to cause havoc for these Bulldogs?
While Dartmouth has been able to limit them to only 6 goals, Yale has been able to get a number of opportunities. There's been 4 or 5 shots that probably should have been in on net, so it easily could be 8, 9, 10 goals. So that's the one argument for hopefully there's not a blueprint out there on how to beat this Yale team.
And Colin Flaherty had just gotten to the goal. Before he scored his most recent goal, he'd just driven down through the center of the field through 2 defensemen, face dodged, and almost had another goal there. So it's a very close.
As Dartmouth has pulled the goalie out of the net, trying to go with the extra defender. Suskin's going to be in on Harry Kucharzik, 30 versus 30. Clock is back up and working. They're going to try to get the right time in there. It should be 51 or 52 seconds left. They have it at 52 minutes. That's not accurate. As I'm sure the Bulldogs will take the win. It might not have been the prettiest victory in the world, but at the end of the day, this win will move the Bulldogs back to 500 in the Ivy League at 2-2, which is really all they needed after today.
Well, and Colin Flaherty, it's not over yet. Colin Flaherty has got 2 very big defensemen that are coming to get him, and he needs to get out of this double team really quick.
He needs to know where he's going to pass the ball. I'm sure Coach Shea talked them through this play. With 52 seconds left to play, Bulldogs really cannot afford a turnover. And for Dartmouth, they're out of timeout, so if they were able to get the ball back, just, going to have to run it through for the last 52 seconds. Flaherty able to dive and dodge. Picks up the hat trick. That should do it for the Bulldogs. Fitting that it comes from Flaherty. who has scored the last 3 goals for the Yale Bulldogs.
A natural hat trick and really coming through for the team.
Fantastic job diving through those 2 huge defenders for Flaherty. Thoroughly deserves the scoring output that he's put up here today. Came into today's game with 7 goals on the season, has put up 3 here today, and they could not have come at a bigger time.
And absolutely, and he's a kid who really wanted to come here. Older brother Jack was here, a great player for the Bulldogs, and Colin Flaherty just hustled right through, one of the fastest players on the team.
Little Lemmings off the face-off, loses his feet. Michael McCormick in there as well, but Dartmouth comes away with it now. 40 seconds left. Need to get some sort of offense going. Robert Osgood has it, looks to get it out of his long stick. Ball down on the ground. Kucharz comes away with it and just tosses it away before he takes a big hit. Another penalty whistle goes against Dartmouth. At this point, Coach Towers has nothing to say to the officials after that.
He's not even going to argue. 18 seconds left. He's kind of washed his hands of them today.
So not the prettiest game of the season for the Yale Bulldog team, but in the end, they look like they're going to get the right result. They trailed 5-3 going into the 4th quarter, but in the last 15 minutes have put up 4 goals to end this game with a victory 7-5 here on Senior Day. Huge win for the Bulldogs, winners of 3 straight now, 2 in the Ivy League, moving themselves up to a 2-2 record.
And a much closer game than we expected. A great day, a great day for lacrosse. A great close lacrosse game. Tough. And some of the Dartmouth fans. There is a Dartmouth parent giving the officials an earful. Ran down to yell at them, and I see one of the Yale athletics people escorting the officials off the field.
I'm sure these officials are going to look to get out of here very quickly. For Dartmouth, they go to 0-5 on the road this season. For much of today's game, it looked like this could have been their first road win of the season, a huge Ivy League win for Dartmouth. It certainly kept everyone's attentions for all 60 minutes, but in the end, the Bulldogs were able to stay composed, and it was a sophomore play of Conrad Obeck and really Colin Flaherty that propelled the Bulldogs to the victory.
And Andy Tower, he's in there telling his guys, you guys played a heck of a game. You know, this is a team that normally scoring 12 goals a game. You hold them to 7 goals. You played very well. Certainly not happy with the officials. I don't think either side was really happy with them today. And a very different called game than we've seen in the last couple of weeks. And I think probably than either team has seen all year. So this is a game that although Dartmouth comes out on the losing side of it, they're going to probably try to take something from this. And the Bulldogs, they say, hey, it's dirty, but we get it done.
And that's all that really matters for this Bulldog team. Now winners of 3 straight. They moved to 6-3 overall. They're back in action this Friday night here at Reese Stadium, taking on the Brown Bears, another big Ivy League matchup that has big implications. We're going to be bringing that one live on Yale All Access as well with our new HD equipment. For us here at Yale All Access, that should just about do it. I want to quickly thank the rest of our broadcasting and production team. Obviously, Pat Reed, my color broadcaster, Taylor Stibb, Chloe Tramal. Fantastic job on the cameras. And obviously our producer, Kevin Kucharski. Fantastic job by all of them. Fantastic job by the Bulldogs getting the win here on Senior Day. They topped the Dartmouth Big Green 7-5. Have a good night, folks.